What's up, everyone? Welcome back to The Faithful One for the first episode of the Spring Awakening event. My name's Jacob, and I'm going to be talking about the parting of the Red Sea and how that relates to the cross. All right, so first I'm going to read Exodus 14, 5 through 7, and that says, "And it was told the king of Egypt that the people fled, and the heart of Pharaoh and of his servants was turned against the people. And they said, 'Why have we done this, that we have let Israel go from serving us?' And he made ready his chariot and took his people with him. And he took 600 chosen chariots and all the chariots of Egypt and captains over every one of them." So here we see that after Pharaoh let the Israelites go, his heart is hardened, and he takes some of his chosen Egyptians and goes to pursue the Israelites to get them back. And now we're moving on to verses 22 through 23, so I'll read that. "And Moses stretched out his hand over the sea, and the Lord caused the sea to go back by a strong east wind all that night, and made the sea dry land, and the waters were divided. And the children of Israel went into the midst of the sea upon the dry ground, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. And the Egyptians pursued and went in after them to the midst of the sea, even all Pharaoh's horses, his chariots, and his horsemen." So here we see that when the Israelites get to the Red Sea, God uses Moses to divide the water. So there's a wall of water on their right and left, so they can just walk through. And when the Egyptians get there, they continue to pursue them. And now jumping down to verses 26 through 30, I'll just read that. "And the Lord said unto Moses, Stretch out thine hand over the sea, that the waters may come again upon the Egyptians, upon their chariots, and upon their horsemen. And Moses stretched forth his hand over the sea, and the sea returned to his strength. And when the morning appeared, and the Egyptians fled against it, and the Lord overthrew the Egyptians in the midst of the sea, and the waters returned and covered their chariots and the horsemen, and all the host of Pharaoh that came into the sea after them, there remained not so much as one of them. But the children of Israel walked upon dry land in the midst of the sea, and the waters were a wall unto them on their right hand and on their left. Thus the Lord saved Israel that day out of the hand of the Egyptians, and Israel saw the Egyptians dead upon the seashore." So as the Egyptians continue to pursue the Israelites, we see God brings down the water back on top of them and wipes them out. Now, how does this relate to the cross? Well, I want to jump way over to Romans 6, 17 through 18. So Romans 6, 17 and 18 says, "But God be thanked that ye were servants of sin, but ye have obeyed from the heart that form of doctrine which was delivered you. Being then made free from sin, ye became the servants of righteousness." So similarly to how the Israelites were the slaves of the Egyptians, we, in our flesh, were slaves to our sin. It is only by the power of God that the Israelites were free from Egypt and that their pursuers were wiped out. And it's only by the same power of God, by Jesus Christ's sacrifice on the cross, that we can be made free of our sin and become the servants of righteousness. So it's the same God who was able to free the Israelites from their physical slavery to Egypt that can free us from our spiritual slavery to sin when we put our faith in what Jesus Christ did on the cross. All right, that's all I got for y'all. I appreciate everyone who tuned in. Thank you to Marco for having me back on here, and be sure to stay tuned for the rest of the episodes that are going to come out. All right, God bless everybody.